Hi, Chris. How you doing? Can't open it from that side. Let me push that.
Oh.
Welcome.
Are you
Shoes?
in?
Yeah, I am. Shoes off?
Of course you're in.
Definitely. Nice to see you.
Yeah,
Come
yourself.
in.
I bought some Eccles cakes.
I haven't had Eccles cakes for ages.
Well, I haven't actually. I saw them when I thought, oh, I'll treat us.
That would be nice.
How good's that?
I think that's excellent. You want me to put the kettle on?
Oh, why not? Kettle on,
Got
always
milk
a cup
and
of tea.
everything, look.
You're spoiling me.
No, not at all.
Eccles cakes and chocolate digestives.
Oh, blimey. Throw them over and I will put them on.
With caramel.
Oh, yes. Eccles. Thank you.
Hey!
Thank you for the Eccles cakes. And there's biscuits underneath.
Marvellous.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And your tea. And I'm waiting for my coffee, so...
Marvellous.
And as always, of course, I'm going to have to give you a serviette because you know I'm like with crumbs.
I don't blame you.
Thank you. Can I show you something? The addition since you were here last.
Yes.
So, the addition to the household today is are these.
Ooh.
I was given these as a Christmas present, but they didn't have the innards in them. And I was moored in Bletchley and I thought I'll go for a little stroll and this, that and the other. And there's a fully fledged haberdashery store, old-fashioned. So I got innards in them and they are my new addition. So my Christmas present is done.
Do you know what? I like these.
I've got another one that's a stag or a... Oh, I don't know.
A stag. I particularly this one. The seagull.
The seagull, yeah, exactly. They're very nautical.
Yeah. Oh, I suppose he is as well, isn't he?
Yeah, what, the old badge?
That's not a badger.
What is that?
A raccoon.
A raccoon?
Isn't it?
Probably. Just shows you.
That's
Not
a
an
raccoon.
yes, exactly. I love animals and haven't the vaguest idea what they look like. So, yes, it's all good. So, anyway, that was my addition. Coffee. So what are we doing today then, Chris?
We're going to have a chat.
Again? That's lovely. What are we going to chat about?
Why don't you tell me? Well, Amanda basically said, why don't I interview you? Ooh.
You'll be sorry.
So, I am under the spotlight, to be honest. And I don't like being under the spotlight. So it's a bit dark in here. Yeah, it's a bit... But anyway, yeah, so Amanda is going to ask me some questions.
Shall we start?
Yeah, after a biscuit.
A biscuit.
Now, last time we were here,
Yeah.
you wanted to do cheers on biscuits. And I'd already started.
I'm going to take an Eccles cake then.
Mm.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Mm. Okay.
Oh.
You ask the most insightful questions of other people, and it's my turn to figure out who you might be and why you're doing this, etc. So, you ready for this?
Mm.
There's no trick questions.
All right.
Okay? Been on the boat for 9 months.
Yeah.
You're loving it. You look good. So you must be loving it. I mean, you know, you're not... Your hair hasn't fallen out or anything.
No.
That's a joke. So, my first question. What is the best and worst on the boat in the 9 months?
I think people would say that surely the launch was must have been the best time, but it's not. I think the best time is people. I've met some really interesting people, and I think deeper down, whilst launching the boat was exciting, I've learnt not to judge a book by its cover. More on the canals than anywhere else. And so for me, that's been the favouriteest bit. Aligned with that is when I'm not meeting people, I find it quite difficult still.
We'll talk about that in a moment. Can I just go back to what you said about people on exactly what they want. I'm in your line of work, etc. I'm surprised that you say that. So people, who are in uniform are in uniform, but there's always going to be an underlying sort of, oh my gosh, they can do that, or
yeah, but that's related to work. I mean, I think there's certain things that surprise you occasionally. You think, but what I'm suggesting here, there's a couple of things, and it's the people who are, I don't want to use this term, but I'm going to. What you suggest will be the down and outs. The people who look scruffy, myself included, but they are unkept, unwashed, got big beards, got really dirty fingernails, a proper, I know, but do you know what I mean? That there are unkept people, and there are people, and some of those unkept people who seem to be just surviving are some of the most interesting people and genuine people that I've met. There's a fella not so long ago who had a bucket of beer and spirits on the front of his boat.
Yeah.
And he says to me, we had a chat about all sorts of bits and bobs, and he was a nice bloke, actually. One of these really unkept fellas. He goes, if I haven't done any work by lunchtime, I'm too drunk to do it anyway. But genuinely a lovely bloke. And it's a sort of people I get on with really well. I don't.
But I think I'm becoming that way. And I think, in a way, not the absolute sort of unkempt, if you like, but my fingernails, I wash my hands about 17 times a day.
Yeah, I know.
And my clothes and my tea towels, are, especially in winter, are just... So I think for you, who has, you've been in the military, you've had to be very precise, and, your trousers have had to have your little crease in the right place and all rubbish, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I think this is good for you to see what,
The other half.
Yeah.
I get it. And don't, having done all of that stuff, and you have all types of characters that join up. Bright people, not so bright people, people that did well at school, those that didn't, and we all meet and talk together and communicate well with each other, generally speaking. But you got that same mindset because it's been drummed into you. Whereas out here, there's all sorts of different people, and the
No
people
rules. No rules.
And the people I have affection for, really quickly, are some of those who I wouldn't have thought I would have done before I come on the water.
You see, I wouldn't have thought you would have said that. I mean, I think I understand that you are definitely somebody who needs people around, needs people to talk to, and but you've always come across to me in the however many months it is, that you like people.
I do.
So does it matter what they wear?
No, but I think there's still a preconceived idea. There was in my head, despite the fact I can talk to anyone, and I like talking to anyone, there were those you think, really? And do you know what? They've been,
exactly.
They've been really, really interesting people.
Absolutely.
And
so that's good. So we've had the good.
Okay.
And what's sort of like the worst thing that's happened on the boat, or the most uncomfortable thing that's
Winter.
Gosh, first winter, of course.
Winter, because I was just crap. And whilst I could light a fire, keeping it going was another issue.
Been there?
Burning that coal, another issue. Burning the wood, another issue. And I would think over the 4 months of winter, December, January, February, and we're in March now, I have improved 100% each calendar month. How I do fire stuff. And there's I think next year will be incremental gains. And I said on a video, I load it up with coal, turn it 7 times, Bobby does flames. Don't want flames, do you?
No.
Flames, and
No.
and it will burn out. And I used a bag of coal a week, and I was only lighting the fire from 3 in the afternoon till about 9 at night. Now I use a bag of coal a week, and it's on 24/7.
Yeah. But it's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah.
How many times do you light a fire and you go away and you go, cracked it? And the next time you do exactly the same thing, then what happens?
Goes out. Or there's no heat. Or it just...
For no good reason.
Yeah, I know. Smoulders or whatever. And then you get... I've learnt, with wood in particular, I have sat there looking at my fire and watching the flames lick the bed of wood. Mm-hmm. And then you turn it down and you turn it down and you turn it down. Ooh. And then sometimes you turn it about a bit more. And it goes not out, but you have to draft it up again. And then you get that flicker of the flame. I thought, yes.
So while we're on the subject of fires...
Yes.
How did you keep the whole of the boat warm?
It was something that you told me, which I dismissed. I have to say, I dismissed it. Yeah, what's she going on about? I haven't got a clue. Doesn't work, but it does. And you told me, get that fire going and heat your living space up, and then slowly open the rest of the boat up. So I only started doing that in February, and we had all of December and all of that cold January. I was trying to heat the boat up with all the doors open, and it wouldn't heat up. You know, it wouldn't. It just laughed at me, apart from one time. And then I thought I'll give it a go. I've got nothing else to do.
Nothing to lose.
Closed that door off, heated the cabin up to 20 degrees, opened that door, and I was expecting all the cold air to rush in and all the warm air to rush out. No, didn't happen. Not at all, because that cabin space that's at 20 degrees stayed at 20 degrees. And the rest of the boat heated up by 2 degrees every 15 minutes.
There you go.
And there's a 2 degree difference between the saloon and that way and the saloon and that way. 2 degrees.
That's fair enough.
Love it.
So good.
Love it.
So that was your worst thing, except for it's become a good thing.
Yeah. And it's learning, isn't it? Every day's a school day.
Every day's a school day. My next question is, what has been your biggest surprise? That will be practically and emotionally.
Ooh. Do you know what? I don't think there's been the big surprise was heating. The biggest surprise...
No, winter is absolutely brutal if your first winter.
Was how lonely I felt.
Mm-hmm.
I think that shocked me. Having been around, don't take this the wrong way. When you're on squadrons, you're messing about with blokes the whole time. And the higher up the rank structure you get, it doesn't matter. I have young men, 18 to 25-year-olds, 100 of them at least, hanging around doing stuff that young blokes get up to. And it's funny. And the interaction of what you do and what they do and all that and all the... You have to sort various bits and bobs out. And I think I've been around young men for 37 years. And now I'm not. And now I haven't got anybody. And it really hit me. So I think that was the biggest shock. That was the biggest thing, because I've worked out I'm a people's person. And I need people around me.
No, I agree with you. I mean, that first winter, it was sort of like, I loved being on the boat. I liked the moving. The cats were fine. Obviously, that whole safety aspect of it. But then you get that whole thing about, who do I talk to?
Yeah.
Who do I ask about this, that and the other? Because, to be fair, a lot of the canal community are quite closed. Unless everybody is standing outside.
Got it.
You can't just knock at the door.
No, you can't. You can't, and you don't, do you? Lots of people have said to me just 2 days ago, fella called Nigel, he says, I'm glad I saw you. He says, because I don't want to knock on your boat. He's a subscriber. And he goes, so we had a chat. I said, why don't you just knock? He says, don't do it.
No, because we seem to be a bit of a strange bunch, and it's sort of, and you don't want to impose on people.
Yeah. I know.
I mean, I don't know if you've travelled with Lloyd a lot, but, I bet you're not in each other's pockets.
No.
So it would, you'd think twice about knocking on his
No,
door
I don't.
at some time. Oh, you don't?
No.
Oh, good. Good old Lloyd. Hi, Lloyd.
No, because I don't think he's in my pocket, but I knock on his door. If I'm going somewhere, I'll knock on his door. I'm just off here. Do you want to come? No.
No.
Right. But I've asked. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And often I'm going to knock on. Oh, he's already gone out. So I think I need him more than he needs me. And there's not a need there, but there is. But it's a small N for need.
Yeah, because you want to feel as though there is somebody else within your little your patch.
Almost to say, hello mate, how you doing? What now?
Yeah.
F off.
Because that means you just don't speak to anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I can understand that, again, when we were in the field, we had, compounds full of people doing all the extraordinary things. And so there was always somebody to either chat to or discuss with or to shout at or to, give a rollicking to or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Good. So that's emotionally. What about practically?
What was the question again?
The question was the biggest surprise.
Oh. Pram. The hood.
The pram cover.
Yeah.
Why?
Just.
It's beautiful. I must admit, I haven't seen the boat, but I've seen the pictures.
It is.
And I thought it was going to be much uglier than the pictures actually denote. So, well done you.
Game changer.
Why?
Because it's a boot room. It's a drying room. It's a sheltering room. Everything and it stops the draft coming in through those little vents. You trying to heat a boat up when you've got those big vents?
Yeah.
Almost impossible. But you've got a cratch cover there.
Yeah, but I also put a block of wood against those so that it breathes, but it doesn't actually just come in when the fire's big on. Imagine
in your front doors at home having 2 4x2 holes. Now heat your house up and you won't be able to.
You won't be able to.
And that's what it's like on a boat. So having that at least on the back side makes a lot of difference.
I'm sure we'll get to this later, but I'm presuming that you've done a very delightful video about your new pram cover and all that sort of stuff. And I'm presuming that
come out today.
Cool.
Have you not seen it?
What, your video? I have to say, no. Do you know, I'm going to be honest about this, Chris, and your viewers will go ballistic, I'm sure, in a bad way or a good way, depending on whoever looks at it. I don't watch them. I haven't seen the ones that we made. I am not somebody who sort of sits there and goes, yeah, okay, fine, I'll watch this, or I'll watch that, or do the TikTok thing, or the YouTube stuff. So, no, I haven't I haven't seen your vids.
But you've hung around with a young lady who saw you on the telly.
Yeah, Leah.
So it's had a positive impact.
Yeah, oh, definitely, no question about it.
So I've had a positive impact by showing you on the television or the phone, and people get to know who you are. How many times do people say, oh, there's that lady
the
from
other day?
Really?
Yeah, I was walking up to wherever it was, and this guy was having a cup of tea on his boat, and he looked at it. You're the woman who Chris Mears videoed with, and I went, yeah, hi, how are you? And it's really quite embarrassing. It's sort of like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Physically, are you doing any exercise?
No.
Why? I thought you would have been a sort of a bit of a gym buddy.
Because I've got my knees are shot.
Oh, really?
I struggle walking up steps.
Gosh.
I struggle sometimes opening the lock gates.
Really? Because you seem to be, I mean, you were very kind. And you came down to help me 2 days ago, 3 days ago, whenever it was, and helped me with the Stoke Bruin locks, which was a delight, I have to say.
It was good. I enjoyed it.
So did I, thank you. But you were running between the locks.
Yeah, I can do short distance.
I mean, obviously, yeah, it worries you about your knees going, but in terms of the rest of your bodily sort of physical stuff.
So I've slimmed down quite a lot. I'm a bit of a slim Jim. So this year I am going to do concentrate on physique.
Right.
Just by doing press ups, just by doing basic stuff. Just to get rid of bingo wings. Do you know what they are?
I have no idea. Please don't tell me. I don't really need to know.
Well, no.
But does that mean that does that mean
the flappy bits here?
Oh God, I should have got rid of those ages ago. Does that mean that you will be able to sort of hoik up 25 kilos of coal, sort of to do your push-ups and all that sort of stuff?
Do you know what? I haven't considered doing that, but 25 kilos is nothing.
We'll put 2 bags on together.
Yeah, even that was. I used to start at 80 kilos.
Did you?
Yeah.
Blimey.
Which is pretty much my body, but that was a warm-up sesh. I don't know, actually. I think for me now, all I want to do is just press-ups, a few sit-ups, and just do some core exercises just to...
So you're not going to give it up completely? You're not going to stop
Oh,
doing
no, because I think doing what I do, despite the fact my knees are hurting, I would rather do that than not do anything, because I think it'd be worse for my body, actually. I am more agile now since I've had the boat.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. I can climb into all different spaces in the engine bay that I couldn't do beforehand.
Right.
I jump up and down on the locks. Not a drama. I'm more active generally because I'm slimmer, and because I can squeeze into those sort of places now. I just feel so much better for it, and the more I can do some supple type exercises, I think they call it yoga. I'm going to call it stretching.
No, I think that's really important, because I was a bit of a gym bunny at one point, and I'm lazy, just so lazy. But I kept on saying, I think I said this before, as long as I can lift up 25 kilos of coal and put it on the roof, that's what you need to do.
Yeah.
But I'm walking much more now.
Well, that's good. And summer's coming, so you'll be out more.
Yeah, exactly. And all of that sort of stuff. So we would recommend that physical exercise is good for you.
Generally.
One, mental health.
Yeah.
Skin tone.
Yeah.
Your little, what did you call them? The bat flaps.
Yes.
Or not. As the case may be.
Bingo wings.
Bingo. Oh, bingo.
Oh,
I see what you mean.
Flapping around with your card.
We've just talked about helping me with the locks and everything. And my first question to you was, 20 years ago this year was the Iraq War, the start of the Iraq War.
Yeah.
And I said, where were you?
Okay, yeah, start line.
Or were you there?
Yeah, well, yeah. So what was interesting is, 20 years ago on that day, I think it was the 20th, we crossed the start line at 0600. But the night before was really interesting. Assembly lines, you have different assembly points, and you move from 5 miles out to 1 mile out, and then we waited at the 1 mile out point, an assembly area.
And where exactly in Iraq were you?
Oh, when he went to Basra.
Oh, okay. Only, he says.
But what was interesting was about 10 o'clock at 2200, boom! The ground shook. Oh. I looked outside, but it was artillery going that way instead of incoming.
So it was our
guys
our side.
Giving, softening the front line. Loads of artillery shots, but about 2 hours constant.
Frightening?
Not now, it's going that way. And nothing was coming back. But it was just like, wow, we're going to war tomorrow. And you didn't know what you were going to come up against. You didn't know anything other than going to war tomorrow.
But that must have an effect.
It did. At the time, I was, I was just scared for my kids, really. I wasn't scared for myself. I was actually looking forward to it. I just didn't want my kids to someone knock on the door, I'm sorry to say.
Yeah.
So I was more concerned about them. But then, you know, as you get into it, you know, just get used to it, don't you?
From a philosophical point of view, I was never in Iraq. Well, I was, but I'm not until 2013. But you were doing a job.
Yeah.
You were not there to sort of think about the moral aspects of what you were doing or why you were doing it, or were you given sort of a scenario from the upper echelons? Or
well, you were given a set of orders, which, you know, happens before any battle. Any time you leave a harbour area or wherever, you get a set of orders, you know, so you know what you're doing, and actions on this and actions on the other, and what your intent is, and what command's intent, and what 1 up and 2 up and all that rubbish. But what was missing was, we are going to destroy, or whatever that mission verb you have. I think it was hold an airfield, so that, you know, allow aircraft to take off and all that sort of stuff. But nothing was mentioned about weapons of mass destruction, because we all knew it was bollocks.
Yeah.
Even at the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So quite why Tony Blair and all that gang, George Bush thought, oh yeah, weapons of mass. No, mate. Sorry, I don't believe you, and I didn't believe him from the start.
I don't think that my crew, if you want to call it that, did either, and it was a construct.
Yeah, pull the other one, mate.
Yeah.
Who do you think you're talking to?
Yeah.
And so you do what you do because you have to do it, and those are your orders, and you follow them out. But what happened. There's nothing I can do about it. I was just doing as I'm told.
Did you have any dissenters in your group?
No.
Because they were there for the same. I mean, you know, they are there to protect our nation's sovereignty and to be.
Now, in the military, I think there were dissenters, but not on the squadron that I was on. Okay. I think everybody was up there. Yes.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's have a little bit of a fight.
Yeah.
Do you think about it now? I mean, obviously, I've just brought it up, but it's, you know, it was just one of the things you did.
Yeah, it's job.
Job.
I'm glad I did it.
Yeah.
It's like being a brain surgeon and then not operating on a brain.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
can understand that.
Go to war.
We've got our own fight on our hands, haven't we, as boaters?
Oh, well, the CRT survey.
Do we discuss this? Are we allowed?
Yeah, of course we are, yeah.
I was very disappointed in the way it was written, and I was on the calls of please use the I was very concerned about the way that it was written, and I joined the calls on the National Boating and Traveller Association, the NBTA, who did a fabulous job in going through all the questions and suggesting what people should answer, and then following that up with some leafleting and some calling and all that sort of stuff. But you've got an interesting story about that as well, I think.
Well, you sent me that link.
Yeah.
Which I read. And to be honest, I answered much the same as what was suggested. I think it's a survey. I would like, whatever the outcome is, there's got to be that statistical analysis, that quantitative and qualitative analysis that is published.
Yeah.
In the military, you have a continuous attitude survey. I don't think the bosses take any notice of that, because the same things come up time and time again with the same end results of you're not doing what you should be doing. I would like a continuous attitude survey so that the higher echelons of the CRT get to appreciate what people think and how people think. And if we get stiffed as continuous cruisers, show me the homework, because everyone I've spoken to has got the same viewpoint, and if that's dismissed, but then you have to argue there are more people who live in marinas. So if it's just done on statistical analysis, we're going to lose anyway.
But there has to be some form of weight.
Oh, fairness. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I mean, how many constant cruisers are there? About 4,000 or so?
Apparently.
37. Which
37.
isn't a lot. 37,000 for
Everybody else.
for everybody else.
So arguably, if everybody takes a survey, we're only 10%.
But there's also a thing about surveys that say that you know, the smaller voice should also be represented in what the answers are. I mean, it's not a quiz in terms of 78% say this and 2% say that, so we're going to go ahead anyway.
Well, that might be the answer.
Well, that means what are we going to do? I mean, that's a silly question. I'm going to retract that one. The point is that for all the people that we have seen on the cut who are probably the most disadvantaged, we're probably going to bear the biggest brunt.
Yeah.
Which I hope we won't.
And
But I'm not going to dismiss that.
And how much homework have they done for giving the continuous cruisers the winter fuel allowance?
Oh, well, I didn't get it.
Well, we're not entitled to it, but those in the marina who live in the marina are. So how much fight has CRT done? I don't know. I don't think there's that at the moment anyway. There is the right type of communication. I think CRT are communicating poorly at best with the issues that are at the heart of the boating community.
And you're putting your money where you're...
Yeah, because I'm part of this navigation advisory group. Yeah, so
Well done you.
I am going to test the water, so to speak. And they will probably realise quite quickly why many officers didn't like me.
Yeah. Say it how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I heard that you read a book. Real book, paper.
Yes.
Is this true?
It is true, and the only reason I read a book is because I was at Braunston, and I have no comms at Braunston, no reception for the phone. So I thought to them, what am I going to do? I've got nothing to do. I'll tell you what, I'll read a book. Now, one of my subscribers is an author, and you think, oh, really? Yeah, and he sent me 2 books, and this was the first one. It's a guy called Richard Wall, and actually he's got a 3rd book
On its way?
On its way, and this is called Fat Man Blues, by a guy called Richard Wall, who sent me signed copy. I'm going to get you to read it. It's about some English fella, who goes across to America and wants to find out about the blues in America.
The music.
The blues. 1930s, and it's one of those books where you have to take a little time to understand the language, because it's written in the colloquial way of the black community in Alabama, Mississippi states, and they all talk in a certain way, and it's very well written as far as that's concerned. And I found myself, once I got into the thread of it, very good. And it's got
So it took you a bit of time to actually get into the way of the writing, the nuance of whatever it was.
It's got a very twisting thread. Fat Man, who it's like a Doctor Who thing, can draw in and out of time, into the present and into the back in the past.
No spoiler alerts, please.
No, it's got a twist, and you think he's a bad man, then you think, oh, maybe he's not,
and then maybe he is.
And maybe he is. And then it's got some real depth to it, about 2/3 of the way, and you think, oh, I didn't see that coming. It's very well written, and I've really enjoyed it. It's one of those books that I think to myself, it's quite profound. I don't say that about many books. It's quite profound. So, viewers, Fat Man Blues, I should know the title, shouldn't I? By Richard Wall. Thoroughly recommend. Richard, if you're watching, give us a link below. Now people can buy your book. Give it a read.
I'm definitely going to give this book a read. Oh, it's got cigarettes on the back. What do you know about Richard?
Subscriber.
So you've never met him?
No.
But you've chatted to him? Or does he answer, say, actually, this video is fantastic, or I like that sort of thing?
Occasionally he comments. He got in touch with me via LinkedIn, so we're LinkedIn people.
Mates.
He was in the Navy.
Oh, right, okay.
So a lot of my subscribers are military, and some of them are authors, businessmen. I'm surprised at the eclectic. Honestly, I talk to a number of them on a regular basis.
But what's your sort of demographic of your channel? Is it sort of, are they boaters?
No, plus 55s.
Okay.
So my age demographic is plus 55s. I think majority are blokes. 80% are blokes.
Right.
And it's 80% that are above 55.
Okay. But you wouldn't know how many of them were actual boaters?
No.
Doesn't matter.
No, some are.
So again, I don't watch any of these things. So if you're a subscriber, you put your name down to get all whatever it is. And if people don't want to subscribe, can they just watch?
Yeah.
Do you know how many of those there are?
Or just watchers?
Yeah. Or don't those sorts
of... I don't do
up?
much of the analytics.
Oh, right, okay.
I try my best to produce decent videos that people want to watch, and if you've clicked on it once, I'm hoping people say, do you know what? That's quite good. I quite enjoyed that.
Yeah, I'll do it again.
I'll watch it again and I'll subscribe.
Again. We've talked about this and I haven't seen any. I feel a bit embarrassed now. But you don't just do boaty things. I mean, this has been very boaty, this particular discussion.
Yeah.
But you don't just do boaty, do you?
No, I do photography, I do cooking, I do chats, because it's about people.
And that's who you like?
Yeah. The whole vlog thing is about people, or the build.
Yeah.
It was about the lads building.
Right.
Not about me really. I'm just a narrator, if you like. But it was about the lads building. The boat is about the boat and the people around it, and where possible, I will always engage with other people.
And how do you get your inspiration for actually finding out what to do next?
I don't know.
Just happens?
Yeah.
So
generally.
yeah.
You have to look for it.
But you've also said to me that you go walkabout. Everywhere you go walkabout.
And that's half the reason. Because content won't find you, you have to find it.
Right.
So by going for a walkabout, I think, oh, look at this towpath. It's quite interesting, actually. If I'm interested in it, you might be. I went up to see some churches. You know, how I got there, there's a lot of editing that goes into that. I walked past the church and then come back again as if he's found it eventually. I knew it was anyway. There is a little bit of artistic license in there. But if I find it interesting, and that again, if you don't go off the towpath, it's all the same: tree, bush, sheep, cow, duck,
rabbits.
I haven't seen many of them.
Yeah, no, I was watching the rabbits just on that field, in that field over there this morning.
You know, so
yeah,
you need to get off the towpath, and I think that's where the interesting stuff is. Whilst, you know, boating is interesting, content is got to be different from just narrowboats.
Yeah.
All the same, really, aren't they?
Yeah.
Slightly different, but, you know, it's a boat 6'10" wide. And however long you want it to be.
Unless you're on a wide beam.
Yeah.
So my last question. What haven't I asked you that you thought I would?
I had no idea what you're going to ask me, to be honest. So, my only hope is that I've answered as true to life as I could.
Well, again, it's been very delightful talking to you, Chris.
It's been great. You know, even meeting up with an old lady, helping her through the locks and all that sort of stuff. It's been wonderful.
Which old lady?
one further down. She was at the bottom of a few locks.
What, a couple of days ago. Yes, the old woman and her boat. Yes, exactly.
And I'm pleased that, you know, Joe, honestly, I'm pleased that you are being recognised as someone, not because you need help. I mean, you've been helped to use an axe just recently, haven't you?
Oh yeah, Leah told me how to use an axe, long handle.
But how good's that?
Oh no, it's going to be a game changer.
Everything.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that there's Amanda. They may not know your name. You're on the table. But if ever you're in distress, I think someone will say, "Oh, you're Amanda."
Yeah. But also, I think and I think I've said this to you before, is that I couldn't do what I do on the boat without help.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I said I was coming up here. You immediately, without practically thinking about it, said, "Oh, I'll come and help." It's like, blimey, why? You know, you're up in, you know, you're a long way off. No, that's what boaters do. Fine. My brother, if I'm in absolute, you know, he loves doing the tunnels, so he's coming down to help me do the tunnels, and I'm never, ever going to refuse him. So, him, you know, if I want some advice, there's always my parents. You know, I've got a couple of mates who I would call up, and it's really important.
Yeah.
And I don't, you know, people say, "Oh, you're a woman alone on a boat." It's like, actually, yeah, I live on the boat alone, but I don't. The extended world is my helper.
It's great.
And it is great.
And I'm glad. Genuinely, I'm pleased that even for someone who's slightly older than me, on your own, it can be lonely. You've discussed loneliness as well. But there are people out there who come to your aid, and you said on the last video, whenever I needed someone, there's always been someone there.
A lot of people on the boats who do need help.
Yeah, I know. But then they have to get off the boat to ask for help. And that's sometimes difficult to see.
Yeah.
To see if they're not prepared to move off the boat because we don't knock. Are you all right?
Exactly.
Are you all right?
Exactly.
Oh, ja.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I mean, there's a bloke on a small boat I just wanted to have a chat with, but he come out looking for a fight instead, and that's because I knocked on his door.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you want? All right, mate, calm yourself down.
Yeah. Just seeing how you are.
Yeah. Well, I just said to him, I put your boat on my YouTube channel, and I'm talking about it. I just wanted to tell you.
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay. It was right after that. So you don't want anything from me? No. No. People don't get that either, in a way. I know, yeah.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much. You're not going to end with that thing in your mouth, are you?
Wow.
Oh my gosh, that was a whole thing. Good. And the sun's shining, the wind's blowing, and it's going to be a nice day. You want me to carry on talking? It's been a pleasure to actually have interviewed Mr. Chris Mears. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to his channel. Press whatever button he said to press. And what else do you ask them?
Thanks for watching, thanks for liking, thanks for subscribing. Have you got this far? And if you haven't, subscribed, we'll give it a go. Do what Amanda says.
Press that button. I might even do it myself. Careful.
Until next time, ciao, Papa.